We'll call together the meeting of the Eastham Affordable Housing Trust on Thursday, November 13th at 9 o'clock. It is a hybrid meeting. We have some people on Zoom and some people in the room. The meeting is being recorded and will be available at www.eastham-ma.gov. Okay. We have a quorum. We have 4 out of 5. So we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. Thank you. Minutes of October 9th and minutes of October 16th. So I would entertain a motion to approve the October 9th minutes.
I'll second. Minor correction, only one N in Ekman.
What's that?
Right.
Sorry,
And my
Jess.
name is Elaine and not Eileen.
Oh, I know. I got it right once and wrong the other time. I blame autocorrect. ChatGPT.
Think the graduate.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, mine both say Elaine.
I switched them
They're
out.
corrected.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
you will. But I didn't catch the Ekman.
Actually,
I'd like to introduce you.
my grandfather's Polish birth certificate has 2 N's on it.
Oh, really?
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I know.
You knew that. You knew that. Channeling it, right?
I think,
Okay.
I think the names are the hardest thing to get.
Sometimes. So we have a motion to approve the October 9th minutes. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay, approved 4-0. And the October 16th minutes, do I have a motion for approval?
so moved.
Okay.
I'll
Elaine, you want to
second.
second that?
Yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those are approved as well. Thank you, and thank you for doing the minutes. Okay. The next topic is the discussion of establishing year-round housing trust to create and preserve affordable and attainable housing for year-round
Sorry,
residents.
I missed it. Who was it that motioned the first one?
Elaine.
Same,
We ended up with a tie, so I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
yes. Year-round housing trust, so you or Paul have
Yeah, let,
presentation,
Paul take that on the,
year-round housing trust?
year-round housing trust, which so far, the seasonal communities designation has it at 250%.
Yeah, so basically. This is now an option for seasonal communities.
Have the regulations been adopted yet?
No.
No, the comment period closed. I anticipate the regulations would be adopted probably spring, maybe.
Oh, okay,
Um,
but we're assuming that,
There may be
In
some
general.
changes. I saw that there was a letter sent and some comments made.
I think the Cape Municipal Leaders Group
Yes.
sent a letter.
Yep.
I can't remember.
I think MMA sent a letter as
Oh,
well.
really?
were they significant, that might affect a
I
lot?
think it was more clarification on certain zoning regulations and concerns about how things might roll out. Maybe not thought through quite enough.
Okay, okay, so Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, so we anticipate that this provision will remain intact, and so basically, we want to put this on the agenda just so the trust could have discussion and make their thoughts known on it. This would basically allow Eastham to convert, if we want, the Affordable Housing Trust into just community housing trust.
Right,
And the AMI limitations would be bumped up to 250%. We were kind of going down this road a few years ago, if you remember anyways,
we were,
because we were gonna try to do that petition to the state to up our local CPA to 250, and then because actually this was all ready to roll the town meeting, it just kind of got pulled back last minute, and then we had an article that was seeking to do this.
exactly.
Because we would have had to change the housing trust configuration to follow suit, so this basically enables us to do it now without any major obstacles.
We don't have to do town meeting though.
Well, no, it has, yeah, it would need a town meeting vote, so that's why we wanted to have this discussion, so we can start to get things, you know, make sure which direction we wanna go, so. From our vantage point, you know. This is, I think, a good thing. I would recommend that we go ahead and do this. Just from a practical point of view. Rolling out these assistance programs, it's gonna make it a lot less complicated. Cause one of the big, like, I think pieces we have to go through is if we're gonna do these assistance programs, the different pots of money. That we're using, cause if we wanna have it. For the, cause most of it's coming from CPA, 100% AMI, but then we have town funds, so. Always trying to do these hybrid things, but we have to like craft the program so that we're accounting for the money and kind of separating the. And that's a whole logistical thing, so that kind of would make all these programs way easier to design and roll out. So just from that perspective alone, it's, to me, it's a good thing.
So quick question, if we get money from CPA still. Does it then go up to that higher AMI once it's in the trust?
Yes,
Okay,
That's what I understand.
wow, okay, so even though it's.
yeah, because that's one of the well, that's one of the mechanics of creating this, because. That's how you get it into the 250, because even though it's CPA 100%, if it's going into a trust that's converted itself, then you kind of, it goes through that filter and then you can
Okay.
That's great.
pop that money up.
Wow,
That would,
That is
So-
really good.
yeah, that would certainly make it more flexible. It also is, we're talking about the housing production plan and having it be the overall housing plan for the town. Having it all in one, entity for planning purposes, I think would be beneficial too, to keep it more efficient, easier.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just think it. It allows the trusts. To be more comprehensive in everything, so that's what kind of led us into having the housing. Production plan and the things the trust does versus the community plan, which is trying to catch all the.
Right.
Over 100%, we can start to just coalesce all these things into one.
roughly what is 250% of AMI right now?
I don't have that number on.
AMI is the 60, in the 60s or something,
No.
70s,
70s,
75?
yeah.
It varies by family size. I'll see if I
Yeah.
can quick.
Yeah, but I'm just
I mean,
curious,
I can
cause that,
Barnstable family of 4 is what I asked for. What did I get? Sorry, I thought I had a quick answer.
Okay, well, you,
I can get that, I'll get
but
the,
it is.
yeah, to see it say it is 75, just ballpark.
Mhm.
250s, what? 150, but 180,000.
I can just like grab it, so.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Just,
I'm seeing much higher numbers here if I'm looking at the right thing. This is a Town of Orleans income rent limits HUD Barnstable County document.
HUD's,
that's different.
That's different, okay.
No,
no, HUD is what the.
I
AMI
just
is.
Well, then according to this, like a 4-person family, 100% is 136,000. A 1-person family is 95,000.
Wow, I didn't think it was that high.
That, yeah,
It seems high.
it feels that way to me too, and so it is possible, I'm looking at a wrong kind of document, that is certainly.
Yeah.
Within the realm of possibility.
Are there any technically? I know you probably haven't had the opportunity to go through and do a side by side between the trust declaration and the seasonal communities requirements for. The year-round housing trust, but and I read through it. The only thing that jumped out at me. And looking, it looked like they kind of copied the same. Pretty much the same language from the. Affordable housing trust requirements to the year-round. For duties and responsibilities and all of that. The thing I saw that was different, that would be different for us is the terms. Would be 3 years. I think our terms are
2 years, yeah, that'd be good.
So.
Most of our
that's-
states are 3 years, so that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And. And it didn't say there was a term limit. It just said terms are 3 years. So that's probably good too.
Yeah, I don't think it says in the current one that there's a term limit, it's the town.
The town,
Policy,
right.
that 3-term limit, but that being said, we haven't really.
Three consecutive 3-year terms.
is the limit,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
for our local
Town,
policy.
Okay.
yeah, yes, and it's a policy.
But I didn't see anything in the, when I just briefly read it, the duties and responsibilities that look terribly different than what.
No, no, because I think it's really just trying to expand the reach beyond just the AMI.
Right.
I think. And along with that, one of the specific things would be now the trust would be empowered to acquire year-round housing restrictions where it's appropriate. So that's a new,
Right,
and the town itself too. So that's one of the tools I'm hoping we can use with the ADU
right,
bylaw. So to beef that up, instead of just acquiring like an affidavit saying, I promise that I'm gonna rent this, we can really have a covenant document that can get filed in the registry and so forth. So, but the trust could utilize that too, and as far as its dealings with property acquisitions or assistance programs, so. So yeah, we just. We'll continue to follow up on this, but at this point, I think it's. Not a huge change to the nature of the trust, other than we just now be able to get involved with housing up to 250%. I think, again, from logistics of. Doing programs and just kind of everything, doesn't matter, property acquisition, programming, rent up, assistance, we can. Just simplify that, so.
would there be any financial advantage in any way for the, because there's some properties now owned by the trust and some by the town. If we do this, would there be any financial advantage to the town in general to move the town-owned property to the trust? Does that, I'm only thinking of the flexibility of with the trust. I don't know, that'd be something down the road to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in terms of if we wanted to. Move the property strategically, sell it.
Sell them for
Yeah,
about,
yeah, that could have some flexibility.
I think it might have some flexibility benefits. And keep it just easier to administer. They're all one thing, right? Which is one of the things to look for.
Yeah, I think that'll,
That's down the road.
another factor in that is just kind of long-term, what we end up doing with our property management.
Mhm.
Right now, it's not a huge deal because we're doing the management in-house,
Mhm.
Trust properties and town
Right.
properties. If we decide at some point we wanna. Staff that out to a third party again. Yeah, that could add some,
Right. And the same with the programs.
right?
You know, if one like half wants to administer, we want them to administer a program that has. Yeah,
So this chart only goes up to 200. I'm gonna have to add 250 to it, but it gives you an idea.
right.
Yeah, so what he saw was right.
Yeah.
95. I'm surprised it goes up with household size. Like. So the more children you have, the. Higher the AMI,
Mhm.
that seems weird to me.
Oh,
Well, you're,
yeah, my first thought was, of course it does, but wait a
Yeah.
minute, yeah, I see what you mean. It's like, this is an income. You have more to pay for, that doesn't mean you have more money coming in.
right, well, it's
That's interesting.
because you have probably the expense of the kids that they allow. It's an allowance.
Oh, right, no, it does
Yeah.
ultimately help you, right? Cause now it's easier to qualify for, let's say, 100%, it's easier to be below that
Under,
number.
yeah, right.
Right,
So you
Oh, gotcha.
regain more benefit
Okay, see, yeah.
because of the extra children, yeah, it's like there's
Something.
it's obvious, and then you flip it around and go, wait, that's not it, and then you have to flip it again and say, oh, yeah, okay.
but I am surprised it goes up so much. Because what this is talking about is housing. And so the housing expense you have goes up with more kids, more electricity, more utilities. And maybe a bigger size place. But it doesn't go up, in my mind, doesn't go up quite as exponentially, but then these are the statisticians that paid a lot more money than I do to figure these things out, so, yeah, okay. It's sort of like child support, you get a certain amount for the first child. And then you get not the same amount, but an additional amount for each additional child, because it's assumed that if you have one, some of the basic stuff like housing is there. Yeah, okay. Well, those are some pretty big numbers.
Yeah.
Right. And some of them, not at 100%, but. Okay, so Paul, is there anything we need to do? Would it help to have a vote to say we, in principle, recommend this approach?
I mean, if the trust agrees with that, I think it would be helpful to have. I
Yeah.
think we'd want to have that on the town meeting warrant too,
Right,
what the support was for it.
so I would entertain a motion to recommend that at the town meeting in 2026, that the town be asked to vote on establishing a year-round housing trust to create and preserve affordable and attainable housing for year-round residents for the seasonal community designation by taking the existing affordable housing trust and expanding it with the new definitions and capacities, capabilities.
Do we need that complex of a motion, or can we just say we're,
We just.
we
Creative,
recommend
recommend
pursuing?
creating an affordable housing trust,
No, you're
a
right.
year-round
Year-round
housing
housing trust
trust,
that includes the affordable housing trust.
for the seasonal communities.
Yes, okay,
There, what he said.
yeah, what he said is better,
I'll move that.
okay,
I'll second that.
okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That'll be good. Housing production plan. And how's the work on the RFP going?
Haven't started that yet, but did talk with the town manager at the last one-on-one meeting, just. Jackie agrees with that approach, thinks it makes sense to coalesce these things, so. That's on my to-do list. I'm gonna prioritize that. And again, just the approach was. Having the RFP be a little more broad, so we can hopefully get one person, but maybe we break up the work depending on how it goes, but we want this all to tie in together. And I want to put in the creation of the guidelines for the assistance programs into this. Well, I guess one reason I haven't started it yet was partly to do with the housing trust conversion. But I think we resolved that. I was kind of waffling because I was like, well, once we go to 250%, all of that logistics, I'm trying to figure out how to. Like, I didn't want to complicate it, but I think we just figured that we go forward if you know, because if this happens in the spring, do we wait till the spring?
Yeah,
But I think we can move forward and just with the provision that if this happens, it's easier to cut things out of the program, language out of it than to try to put it back in. So
Right.
I think we can still, that's in my head, I was kind of.
right, so
Wait a little bit to see if this clarifies its own or not, but I'm just gonna start putting it together.
okay, and we may have programs that, as we look at the programs that, and the income limits, that we may decide still only go up to 100%, or 120 or 50 or
Right.
something. Not everything, not all programs will automatically go to 250,
Right.
right? So,
Yeah, and I think when we get into creating this, I anticipate we'll have to have meetings with the trust and staff and consultants to kind of go through that, and also like, which programs do we feel are a priority? Cause I like to put that into the plan and have like a action item, like here's all the stuff, but what do we do first based on?
right,
So we want to get the trusts input on that when the time comes. So we'll have some working sessions, I anticipate.
Well, and there may be, as we talked about at our meeting, there may be some programs like the ADU program that we don't wait with a new housing plan, but we go ahead and get
Right.
rolling anyway. So, okay. That'd be something we could do. Would it make a difference in the consultant that we use? Do you think? If we're doing the housing plan and if we're doing program design and development, is it the same consultant or do you think there might be different?
My preference would be to have the same person, just because
It's easier.
easier, but.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the folks that are doing this work are versed in all of this stuff, so
Okay.
I anticipate whoever's applying for this job would,
Okay,
know what they're doing in
Yeah.
both realms, so.
okay, good. Okay. Any thoughts or questions about that? If there's anything we can do to help you as you're thinking about the RP and, you know, we're obviously available to help. The Mary's here and Mary had reached out to me and asked if at some point I would like to come to the CPC committee meeting to talk about the change in the CPC level from 3% to 1.5% and represent sort of the housing point of view of that because of the potential impact on the CPC funding for housing that would entail. And I know we briefly talked about that at a prior meeting. My sense is from our prior discussion is that there's understanding that the wastewater project will increase the ability to have more dense housing particularly in the town center area. Support for the wastewater project is very important. And so if that's what's required in order to fund the wastewater project, that the sentiment of folks here is that we probably ought to acquiesce to that. Do I have that? I mean, I personally have a different opinion, so.
So, well, I just want to add it, Richard, I was able to touch base with him and he's scheduled to come to our next meeting
Oh, okay.
in
Then
December.
we'll just wait and
That's
have that
helpful.
discussion then.
He couldn't come today.
Okay, along with that, if you, either of you, whoever is best. I distinctly remember when Hillary came to talk about the wastewater project with us. That there were, I thought, I may not be 100% about this, but I thought that the comments were made that. In terms of the wastewater projects as it's now conceived. And that the capacity that it's projecting to be built for is based on current consumption plus a small amount. That it's not being built to entertain the capacity for much more density on, for example, tea time and in the Holmes Road area. I think personally, I would want that clarified as part of that discussion. Because if the current wastewater project as it's designed doesn't support that additional capacity, then it defeats in some ways, from our perspective, from a housing perspective, it kind of defeats our purpose. Is there a way to?
So what she had said to me was that there was a way to divert additional flow to those properties. I don't know that I had brought up Holmes Road. But I mean, it might be worth.
I think it's worth trying to clarify.
Yeah.
What they built in terms of additional capacity for Tea Time Town Center and the Holmes Road area. Above and beyond the current capacity, the current usages.
Okay.
Because that's really, I think,
Yeah.
a critical part of the plan.
Yeah, cause I know there's something that has to be like zero growth or something.
Yeah. it
to
has
get
be
some of the wastewater money in the state,
growth neutral,
growth neutral, that's it.
so, but you can, within that, you can allocate additional flow to areas.
Initially, you're right.
You just have to offset that. And it could be through different things. I mean, the easiest thing is to preserve open space for development. So that and that's where you're
Mitigation.
allowing it over here because we're gonna preserve, but there's other. Options you can do also. I mean, we'll have to talk more with Hillary on that specifically, but
or maybe even invite her to the next meeting, because that's, I think, a real critical planning piece. I don't know whether she has the time, but,
I can ask.
yeah,
So,
that would be great. Sure. Thank you.
I think, Carolyn, what you said was accurate, that wastewater has an impact on housing, especially through density in the town center.
Right.
And the way you said it, I know you were just putting out what you think is the group's opinion, but I think it's very accurate. If this is the way that water treatment needs to be funded, okay, it's what we have to do even for housing.
Right.
For me, and I think for you at least, and maybe others, I don't have enough understanding and evidence yet to say, how does that evaluate if this is the only way to fund it, if this is the best way, the right way to fund it. So I think having Rich come next month, and walk us through that will be very instructive. I bet I can leave that meeting thinking, aha, this makes sense, or, oh, no,
Right.
this doesn't make sense at all. But
Right.
right now, I don't have those kind of facts.
Okay.
So that would be very
Yeah.
valuable.
I too think I'd like to hear from both Rich and Hillary. I think that would
Yeah.
give us a very complete picture.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for
You're
trying to
welcome.
reach out for that. Okay, good. Um. Let's look at Rachel's staff report. Rachel, anything you want to highlight for us?
At least the local speed, let's take it off, huh?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Let's see. With the rental assistance program, I did speak to Maggie this week. And there actually is going to be, one of the participants that had come off is actually going to get another year. So we have the 15,
Okay,
back up to 15 with an
Good.
additional person on the December 1st. I have,
and we had voted to increase.
yes, yeah, they haven't had to do that yet, but the money's there and they're aware of that.
Okay.
One thing we talked about, and we're gonna follow up again, was I had made several referrals. I had some discussions with people, and referred them to the program, and people it doesn't seem like they're following through. So, it's
The individual person.
the individual
Yes.
person. So, that's kind of, I can't really give out people's names to them to follow up on, so that's something I'll have to want to keep reaching out to see if they need any assistance or if there's anything you can do to move
Okay,
that along,
That'd be good.
because there's probably at least 3. And then, the lease to locals, they're going to be, going through those applications and the tenant, applications. There seems to be some capacity potentially for those renters to receive from the rental assistance program. So they're gonna be reaching out to them and letting them know its availability.
Well, that's good.
So that
So-
all happened yesterday afternoon.
So 4 applications in a pretty short time.
Yeah, Yeah.
That's great. Thinking about all 3 of these programs, I had a thought the other day, which I know Rachel and Paul both know I talk about this a lot, but writing on our outward facing communication pieces at like a 9th grade reading level, so that they're easily understandable. I recently did some of that using AI I gave it a document, said rewrite it and write it at the 9th grade reading level, and it came.
Did you have emojis and acronyms?
No, and it was actually,
Sentences.
yeah,
Right.
that's the, you know, it's the kind of thing that
You
you.
said reading level, not writing level.
Yes, that's true. Understandability, so it might be interesting to try that. I'd be willing to try it, if you have a Word document of any of our brochures.
Yeah,
If you send it to me, I'll run it
Okay.
through and see what happens.
okay.
You know, it gives you the opportunity to. When you, I don't know if any of you've tried that with a document,
haven't.
but it gives you the it gives you like three choices. I rewrote it this way, this way, and this way. One is very formal business. One is average, and one is kind of folksy, you know, very informal. So you can pick, you know, sort of which tone you want. But they're all meet the requirement of being at the right reading level, so it would be interesting to try. So if you can send me a couple of the
Yeah.
program things,
Sure.
you know, we can't, certain things with like it's tables and stuff, we can't change, you know, but it'd be interesting to see. Yeah,
I'll send you to what I had sent to Jeff for the Realtors Group. I just
Yeah.
done a short summary of the different programs,
Okay.
so, well, it's not that short, but that would be
Short
great
enough.
to have it
yeah, yeah,
looked at that
yeah,
way.
anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, all right. Okay, back to seasonal communities on your report. Anything else to update?
Yeah, no, nothing else to update, just kind of waiting to hear what's next there. Last I looked, there hadn't been an agenda posted for the next meetings. I try to join those meetings when I can, but I'm not quite sure when the next one will be,
Okay.
so.
And under your other, I know you and I had talked about the idea of, we had a program where if somebody built an ADU, they could keep their tax rate at the same level as a way to create incentive in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, unfortunately, when I talked to Rich, and I mean, maybe we can talk to him about that
right. That's what I
at
was
the
thinking.
next meeting. It's not possible in the current structure.
Right.
But he said, you know, if it aligned with our strategic planning goals, you know, it could be, you know, a request to the state. I don't know if that's a home rule petition or.
Well, and I went back and did some research. I was looking at the program that Virginia Beach has done, because that's where I was getting Virginia Beach and Richmond were. And Richmond has particularly had great success. They were doing it more in terms of bigger developments and working with developers. But the same principle applies to an ADU or a 5-unit development, or a, you know, 30-unit development. And they said the same thing. They couldn't do a reduction in taxes, but what they could do was a grant equivalent to the increase in taxes.
Okay.
So, because you can't change the tax structure.
Just out of curiosity, I know there's something like. If you live on a busy street or something, there's some tax. Big code they put on your taxes. That reduces them a little bit. Like if you live on Route 6, I think your taxes are dropped a little. Just like they go up if you live waterfront. You know what I mean? There's. It might be something to talk to Colleen about.
Abatement.
It's, well,
Was that an
kind
abatement?
of like an abatement, but it's more of just a reduction
Assessed
in
value.
value.
You
Right,
mean something that they do automatically in their review, not something you request?
correct.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
well, yeah. I mean,
That's exactly what
part
we're
of the
working
evaluation.
against here, though, right?
Well,
Is
right, but.
You build an
why
ADU,
couldn't
it's
we
worth
do it the
more.
other way? Like, if you build an ADU, obviously you have more, another structure, it's worth more, but you're creating a year-round. Rental, which then kind of reduces the value. It's not a seasonal rental, it's not, you know, two separate houses. So maybe there could be something that
You got some weirdo living
reduces,
upstairs.
what's that?
You got some weirdo living upstairs. I'm helping you here.
Well, you know what I mean, just that
Absolutely.
it, because you're creating something good for the town, maybe you should get a little break on that. I don't know.
I think that's another rich question.
Rich or Colleen or,
Well, he's coming next month,
Yeah.
so
yeah,
I
might be a
think,
good discussion.
and I think I don't know, it'd be a rich question, but I think it's probably easier to manage it as a grant. Because it has what they said was a defined period of, it's like for 5 years, and then it goes away. Because you're trying to get that initial impetus, but you're not supporting them forever. You're just trying to create some initial. I don't know, it'd be interesting to talk about,
Yeah, cause I am curious what,
right,
if there's something that could be done just to kind of offset that benefit you're providing.
right,
With, even if it's a reduction in value a little bit, but then you don't wanna hurt them if they go to sell either.
right,
So, but it might not, that might not be something that hurts.
I mean, it's still the same house, but with lower taxes.
Yeah,
That feels like something that helps.
yeah,
well,
I just-
unless it doesn't succeed.
the ADU doesn't follow the.
If it's
That's,
the
yeah,
initial owner.
sure.
Right.
But it also would apply to, as we're looking forward to Town Center and Holmes Road and Tea Time, that something like this would also play into development incentives. Again, I'm thinking particularly, not so much the great big Tea Time, whatever we
Yeah.
think that's gonna be, but if we're trying to get people in Town Center to do small pieces.
Right.
And so they're worried that the improvement's gonna increase their taxes, and how will they pay for that? That. This would be a way to help mitigate that for a period of time.
Yeah, I think we'll have to talk to Richard Conley. I was, and I don't know, other than speculating, that I know the adjustments that they make, you know. It's more based on the location than the use.
Right.
So I don't know if there's a restriction in what the laws allow you
Yeah.
to do, but
Yeah, be
Right.
interesting to
you
find
can
out.
ask.
Yeah.
But then, if that wouldn't work out, maybe some sort of a grant,
Mhm.
do an ADU, you get so much
Right.
per year for 5 years or something.
Mhm.
To offset doing it and not, and paying higher taxes.
Right.
One other thing I wanted to add to the report, this kind of overlaps. We did get a grant from the state. For, it falls under the, I think it's called the Site Readiness Program. But it's for Holmes Road area, so basically to do a master plan for Holmes Road.
Great.
And part of that will be analyzing. And this is to coincide with the new zoning, but it's gonna possibly overlap with the things we just discussed, was, looking at the infrastructure, utilities of that area. The capacity for what's there now, existing businesses, but then potential for those businesses to expand or diversify if they want, or new businesses that would be appropriate for Eastham, how to attract that, how to build out the rest of Holmes Road, work with the stakeholders down there, the property and business owners down there.
Rigor, then,
Right, and then housing is a key component in being able to add mixed use and possibly multifamily into that. And I think one of the technical points that I think I would want to have our consultant help us with is, we have all the regulations, we have all of this, but unless you have the capital to
Right.
redevelop or develop, it's not gonna go anywhere. So I
Right.
think that's like kind of like helping us think through, are there state programs, federal programs, things we can do at the local level to provide money, or are there tax breaks or whatever that we could do to incentivize, or things it's kind of offer, okay, here's the zoning's gonna allow you, the zoning's in place to allow you to do all these new things. Here's what we can do with the town, but here's some other things we want to look at, to kind of give people a menu of things
Right.
if they want to do that. So that's one of the, so. I'm trying to see if we can expand the scope. I got the grant because I really focused on Holmes Road, because it was a kind of a tight, well-defined space, but. I'm waiting to hear back. I would like to be able to expand the geographic scope a little bit, to at least get the Brackett Road up to Teton, include that, because a lot of that stuff is pertinent to the whole area. So if we're gonna do the work here, so we'll see for that, but,
And getting access to a consultant that understands, has knowledge of, or access to databases about grants, even private grants, that are trying to help with the housing issues.
yeah.
It takes a lot of research and activity to figure out what the town could apply for, or what helping the local business apply for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of see the grant kind of falls into kind of four buckets. The work, part of it's the infrastructure itself, roadways, utilities, so forth. Then there's an economic development, land use development piece. I think this third piece is what we're talking about, just like assistance options, and then the fourth piece is actually doing the master plan, putting all these components together into like an actionable plan. So the way this grant is designed is that the state basically pairs us up with a consultant or a team of consultants based on what the project parameters are. So they kind of look at everything we're trying to accomplish, and then they have, like, call them house doctors, but basically consultants on retainer. They match up. So hopefully we get, we communicate what we want to do, we'll get a good match with the skill set for the consultants. It actually alleviates us having to do the procurement. So from my perspective, that's a huge thing. So we don't have to do an RFP and all that kind of stuff. So but hopefully we get matched up with the right skill
Right.
set, but.
yeah, because trying to find that kind of economic development support for the local businesses that are already there, or that will be maybe coming there.
Yeah, a key piece of this is the kickoff is just getting all the folks in that area on board. I mean,
Right,
they don't know we're doing this because, so we have to like engage with them to,
sure,
help them understand Holmes Road is a private road too. So that's part of this.
Serve lunch and.
Yeah, so hopefully we get buy-in and people are interested and they want to work with us to say this is to everyone's, the community benefit, but also their properties and businesses, to say we're
Yeah.
gonna help you figure out if you want to do anything further, if you want to expand, also figuring out. Are you gonna be operating this business for the foreseeable future? You're getting ready to retire and offshoot this or sell it off, or do you want to subdivide the property? Again, the zoning is gonna allow for more density, more diverse use, more types
Yeah.
of uses. So trying to help people understand the development potential. Obviously, there's one huge piece of property that's kind of the key to all this, but all the other properties too. I mean, the zoning really, and then with wastewater, again, once we resolve the density issue, there's a lot of potential in that area, in my opinion, is underutilized. There's a lot more that can happen, and we want to identify the business economic sectors in the future that are appropriate for Eastham, that key in with our strategic plan and, blue economy, environmental economy, service economy. There's a lot more there, but I think, again, hopefully they'll let us expand it so we can catch a little more of the core commercial district, because I think it ties in, especially the housing. That was my argument, like all these
Right.
businesses are gonna need more staffing
Right.
and this, so.
Yeah. And once you do all that, but the knowledge that you'll gain about the grants and potential economic development funding can help other parts of Eastham too, thinking along
yeah.
Route 6 and Main Street Mercantile, and, where Red Barn is, and Ace, and all those business owners, help them know what they
Yeah.
can move forward with also. So I think that's awesome. When does that work start?
I just met with the grant facilitator yesterday, so.
Okay, good.
They're just gonna. We just need to, finalize the scope of work and the geographic
Mhm.
area, and then they'll start, so probably after the new year, but in January.
Okay. Next year's gonna be really busy.
Yes, it is.
Cause I happen to know you have a lot of zoning going on too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing when you apply for these grants and it's like, okay, oh, no, we got the grant. Yeah.
Right.
It's a good problem. to
All
have.
right. Rachel, you mentioned that you printed off some stuff for Jeff for the Realtors Association. Do you know when he's going to talk to them?
I didn't hear back from him.
Yeah, okay, all right. Anything else from your report or from
I don't think so.
anything else from the rest of the group? Any other comments, thoughts?
I meant to make myself a note, hidden, so let's see if I have it
Okay.
close at hand.
So this Housing Leadership Academy.
Mhm.
Have you done that?
No, and I don't know that it's actually for me.
Employees?
Yeah, it
Or
sounded,
committee members?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
It's a 6 month program.
sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. Can you send us, the
Sure.
link to it?
yeah,
We can take a look.
absolutely.
Ooh, it's one-sided report.
Yes,
Yeah,
They're usually long then.
they are.
It's like
It was a short week.
Am I missing the?
oh, I'm looking back at our minutes. Amy, we were talking about doing housing related insert in the tax bill in May, and you said you might research that.
Right, I haven't.
If
Yes.
you could follow up.
I will. Which one was that in?
And you were gonna talk to the school districts.
Yes, you know what? I sent some notes to the school district and didn't hear back, so
Okay.
I'll follow up again.
Um, and for the RFP for it's being put together at some point for the Town Center Plaza and Tea Time, are we going to hire a consultant, do you know, to help put that together?
The RFP?
Yeah,
No, we're working on that in-house. I think what we talked about was getting some input on it, from maybe, folks on committees and in town and things before we actually put it out, but we're doing it in-house.
and using, remember the report that we commissioned, the town commissioned about the different financial models and financial feasibility, incorporating that information into it too. Right, okay.
So I do think remember I did talk to you, Jackie, about that, about the insert in the tax bills.
Oh,
Cause I was talking to her and you came in and then we kind of said. Like getting a half pay or whatever it is.
Yeah, I had given some information on it. I think probably one of the last meetings. I don't know if it was the 9th or 16th, but I can,
Yeah, cause we
I
did
can-
talk about it after, so I did talk
Okay,
about
yeah,
Jackie
I'll
and then.
pull that back up for the next meeting.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, about what the costs were.
okay. And maybe since Rich is going to be here next month, we can also finalize our budget for this year. We don't, just for the trust, we just need to be sure that we approved a budget.
Yeah, I mean, I have the profit and loss that I provide. I am working on that quarterly for the
Right.
next meeting. So hopefully I'll have that. I wasn't able to, our assistant finance director was out. But
And I don't think we have to see that every month. I mean, that doesn't
Yeah.
change that much, so.
Right, and that has the information, I think, for the rental assistance program and health,
Right.
but I wasn't quite sure if you're looking more. Cause it shows what's currently in the purchase order for the program. And then what the expenses are. Was there something more
Well,
on those two programs you wanted to see?
no, what I guess I was thinking is typically we approve a budget for the upcoming year. So what will we be receiving in and what will we be spending through June of 2026?
Okay,
And just so a forward look that
okay,
it just, the fiduciary responsibility that we have would, I think, suggest that we have a budget and so we know.
okay, yeah, no, that's the clarification. I was
Yeah,
looking- Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that'd be good. But then the other side of it is the properties that we own and manage.
yeah,
What does that budget look like?
Yeah.
We've tried to keep the two
Well, there's separate.
somewhat separate, yeah, okay, all right, that'd be great. And since Rich will be here, he can,
Yeah, I don't know that he's gonna be able to get to doing them before that. But you know, it is something we've talked about. I've talked to Jackie about it, talked to Rich about it.
okay,
So
okay,
it's on our radar.
okay. Anything else? For the good of the group, Elaine?
Nothing from me at the moment.
All right. All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.